it is hot in here today. Here we have the Nintendo Wii controller, also known as the Wiimote, but not as we know it. With replacement coloured housings finished off with high quality skins designed by Retro Game Evo, these controllers are unique and eye-catching. The colours and surface graphics really make you want to just pick them up and start playing. What's more, as far as modding projects go, it is a very simple way to get yourself all set up with an awesome looking controller. Hi and welcome back to the shed. I'm JOEBLEEPS, and in the last week I've been super busy back at work after my summer break. The UK has been hit with a heat wave, and most of the time this shed, like now, has felt like an oven. I've been so hot and tired I thought I might not actually get the time to make a video this week, but it is now Saturday and it's my birthday. Now it's such a rare treat to have a day off on my birthday. I took the opportunity to get out to the shed early and have a little bit of a tinker before it got too warm. If you're familiar with my channel, you will know I have a soft spot for Nintendo's Wiimote, and Retro Game Evo knows this too. If you're not familiar with their work, I'll leave some links for you in the description. They're a talented designer and maker and well worth checking out. Now, after I made a couple of Wiimote related videos a while back, they got in touch about some ideas for Wiimote skins, and a few weeks later I was sent some really awesome looking skins with different Nintendo themes. I've not done a Wii related video in a while, and as time is limited this weekend, what a great opportunity to share these skins with you and have a go at what would hopefully be a quick and easy project. So, was it worth doing? Let's take a look. My friend Retro Game Evo sent me these skins a while back. They are really nice quality prints in full colour on vinyl, and they're cut to shape for overlaying on the top of a Wiimote. I got 3 of them featuring Kirby, Link and Samus, with nice details such as the Japanese text at the top and down the side, and this nice twist on the Nintendo logo with a lowercase n that looks really neat at the bottom. When I made this custom pink Wiimote with an aftermarket shell I found on eBay, I kept the original white buttons in it for a more professional looking finish. It's nice enough, but without the Wii logo, it looks a little bit plain, and at a glance, it's clearly not an official product. So this one seemed to be the perfect candidate for the Kirby skin, which became the start of this weekend's activities. It was a little tricky to position, but thankfully it is forgiving, and it allows you to peel back and reposition if you're not quite lined up. Just be careful not to stretch it, and don't push it down flat until you are absolutely sure it's in the right place. With a little patience and a bit of slight repositioning here and there, I got it in place, smoothed it out. I used a polishing cloth to get any tiny little air bubbles out, and once it was on, it looked really good. It is far and away more eye-catching than the standard white remote now. The 2 shades of pink contrast nicely, and it looks really great when the blue power LEDs are lit too. So, onto something a little bit more involved. I had a couple of working but somewhat tatty Wiimotes that were missing their battery covers. I briefly tested positioning the skins on the white controllers, and although it did look good, it wasn't as effective as they looked on the coloured shell. I think the Link one would work really well on a green or a yellow controller. Sadly, I've got neither of those. However, what I did have left over from when I ordered the pink shell are a blue and red shell kit, neither of which were perfect for the Link skin, but the Samus skin actually looked great on both. So I decided to go with the red shell and use the Samus skin for a quick new build. The shells need to be carefully separated near the D-pad using a spudger. As I had 2 kits, I had the option of using or combining red or blue parts. Once I had the controller open, I also had some white buttons that I had the option of using as well. Opening the Wiimote is straightforward. There's 4 tri-wing screws in the battery compartment. 2 of these are set quite deep, so I needed to use a longer screwdriver. After separating the shells, I cleaned up the battery contacts with an eraser and took out the motherboard. I got the battery connector out from the rear shell. A small screwdriver helps push them out, and then I just pushed those in place into the red rear shell. I decided to stick the skin onto the shell before assembling the controller this time, and it did prove to be a lot easier without all the buttons in the way. It went on fairly well. I mean, I'd clearly learned from doing the Kirby one, and again, it looked great once it was stuck in place. I removed the speaker, buttons and silicone pads from the white shell and spent some time deciding what parts were gonna go where for the final look. I decided I was keeping the power button, the home button and the A button from the white controller so they all needed a bit of a clean up. I used baby wipes and a toothbrush to get any dirt off, and then I used poly watch polish to get the A button nice and shiny again, removing the slight scratches that were there before. I used a spare white Wiimote front shell as a little stand, which let me arrange the buttons and silicone pads with it sitting on a flat surface, but it was still allowing the buttons to stick out a bit. In the end, I used all blue buttons aside from those 3 white ones, and also ended up swapping out the red B trigger for the blue one. I did consider using the blue lower shell for a stronger contrast, but it all started to look a little bit too Super Mario, and I wanted it to be like Samus, so I kept both the red shell parts with the more subtle blue button accents. I did feel spoiled for choice, to be honest. The red and blue buttons and shells all look great in every combination and would have worked well with this skin. With all the parts in place, I started to reassemble, but then I realized the plus button wasn't located correctly and it wasn't closing up. So I had to reopen, reposition, and then reassembly was fairly straightforward after that. I put batteries in and nothing happened. This always happens. Honestly, I have no idea why in this case. The white Wiimote was working just fine when I tested it only an hour earlier. However, at this point, after trying some basic troubleshooting, I still couldn't get it to work. So I just took the other Wiimote, I opened it up, and took out the motherboard from that one instead. It appeared to be a different revision to the first one, but it still worked, and that's what matters. There was a bit of battery corrosion that needed cleaning up with distilled vinegar and a little bit of isopropyl alcohol, and then I used it to replace the non-working motherboard. Before reassembling, I tried putting the batteries in and pressed a button on the motherboard to check if it was working first. Now, this is definitely a time-saving tip I will take forward after doing this build. It saves a lot of unnecessary disassembly and reassembly, especially when you think that every time you undo it and you unclip those 2 halves of the shell, you do run the risk of snapping something off. Thankfully, this time it worked. The LEDs lit up, so I reassembled the whole controller and it felt great and it looked really good. Fun little Saturday morning project with a nice end result. So that's it. A fun project even if you're relatively new to modding, and a nice easy way to make your controllers look really distinctive. If you want some skins to try this yourself, get in touch with Retro Game Evo. I'll leave a link to their website and social media in the description. The design and quality is great, and you'll no doubt find their other work interesting too. If you want Wiimote shells, I got mine on eBay. I'm sure if you search, you'll find them there, or maybe on AliExpress or somewhere like that. Now, ZedLabz don't sell Wiimote shells, unfortunately, but they do sell loads of tools and accessories for modding and repairing Nintendo's consoles and controllers, as well as a range of gorgeous display stands for Wiimotes that are designed and made by Rose Tinted Gaming. Definitely check those out. If you use my affiliate link in the description for ZedLabz to shop there, you'll be supporting my channel at no extra cost to you, and if you use the code JOEBLEEPS at the checkout, you'll get some money off your order too. So that is it for now before I melt in this shed. Thank you for watching. Share, comment and subscribe if you haven't already. Much appreciation to you all for helping me keep this channel growing. This is JOEBLEEPS signing off from the shed. If you want to keep watching, there's some more videos for you to watch here. Otherwise, I'll see you in the next one. Bye.